Here we go. I want to welcome everybody to the Facebook Live in the Speakers Lounge. We're going to go live in just about a couple of minutes, I'm sorry. I'm going to have Miss LeTonya Moore. Well, I'll talk a little bit about her in a couple of minutes. I'm gonna have her joining us. We're gonna be talking all things branding tonight, going from how to build your brand, how to leverage your brand, how to protect your brand, and then making sure that you understand how do you go from building your brand all the way to being a global brand. Those are going to be the few things that we cover tonight. So we hope you will join us. I want to invite a couple of people to let everybody know that that we're actually in the lounge tonight. So come on in and join us. We want you to be a part of this. We want to give you some information, tools, and those things that you can use that will assist you in being able to take your business, your brand to that next level. So we hope you'll join us. Let me see if I can't get her in here. Hopefully I sent her an invite. So we'll see if she can come on, in. And we will we'll actually get started, because I want to make sure that we as entrepreneurs understand, and speakers, entrepreneurs, authors, that we understand your brand, your business, and your business is your brand, and how to be able to leverage it, how to be able to protect it. First of all, you want to make sure that you are always protected when it comes to your brand, when it comes to your business. And since LeTonya is an attorney, she's going to talk a little bit about that aspect of it, so that you can make sure that you seek counsel. If not her, then especially someone else that can be able to give you assistance in being able to show you what you need to do adequately to protect your brand. Because I can't tell you how many times that people get used, or they lose their particular business, they lose their brand because of that very thing. For those of you that haven't watched the movie, we can get on. Oh, okay. It says it's adding. So let's see if she can come on. Did you get the ad, LeTonya? Because it says it's adding, so I'm hoping it'll only take a minute to... Oh, there you go. Can you see me?
Okay, I can.
Okay, can you hear me?
I've never done it this way, so I'm
trying
to make sure we good. Can you see me okay?
Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you perfectly fine, so you good.
Okay, good. Okay, I feel like I'm cut off a little bit, so I'm trying to make sure the
Oh,
light
no.
is right. Okay.
No, you actually really good. Really good.
Okay.
How you doing, lady?
I'm great. And listen, I thank you so much for rescheduling this. I don't know what I was thinking. I figured, well, getting too full is no big deal, but clearly I had never done that before. So yeah.
I want to tell you, because I've been through that, and it's no joke. So for those that she had a dental appointment, she thought she was gonna be Superwoman.
I was like, what was I thinking? What in the world was I thinking? Oh my gosh, I felt like somebody had punched me in the face.
Absolutely. That's the way it is when you especially when you coming from the dentist like that, with having a tooth pulled. I've had it done, and it puts you down. I'll put it like that.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know who this young lady is, y'all about to know who this young lady is. She is Miss LeTonya Moore. She is an attorney. She's an author, speaker, brand strategist, which is what we're going to get into tonight. And this lady is on it and doing all kinds of great things, just out here making sure that people have their brands protected. And if you don't understand about what the importance of the protection of your brand is, tonight you about to really understand it, and understand the necessity of it, and what needs to go into thinking about how to protect your brand. So I want to welcome you to the speakers lounge, Miss Lady. Thank you so much again for
Thank you
joining
so
me.
much for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want you to just talk a little bit about you, talk about your business, who you are and what you do, to kind of introduce yourself a little more to the folks that might not be familiar with who you are and everything, okay? And then we'll
Okay,
jump right
awesome.
into what we do.
So I'm LeTonya Moore. My company is 360-degree brand protection strategies. And what we do is it's really a conglomerate of professionals that are essential to not just protecting your brand, but also giving you the tools and the resources that you need to take your brand to the global marketplace. Leroy, as you know, 2018 really has sparked exponential growth for my brand, and so it's something that now that we have sort of walked the walk, for lack of a better word. What we've done at my company, my team and I, we have put together a streamlined process, because all of us in our own different ways have gone through the grueling task of figuring out, how do I go from local to global? And so these last few months, we've kind of put our own methods and all of those things together and created what is a new program. So that's one of our new initiatives that we are working on, because for us, it's really important for people to understand that a lot of businesses fail because they don't realize that now your ideal client can be anywhere in the world, and you have access to them. And so a lot of businesses fail because of that, even brick and mortar businesses. And so I'm fortunate, I'm blessed to be positioned that, God has really placed me and positioned me to connect with people that understand that this is a global world that we're living in, and they're willing to bring their expertise to the table to help other people get there.
Absolutely. And I call that 21st century mindset, which is where you're not thinking just local, but you're thinking global, because like you said, you can touch anyone around the world with the advancement of technology and the way that it is. And if you aren't thinking on that big scale, and some people may not, but to me, I'm always thinking big. So I'm always thinking, how can I grow my business? How can I grow my brand? How can I touch even more people, because it's just so many more people when you come from that perspective. So tonight we're going to do just three things. We're going to talk about branding, of course, but we're going to talk about it from three different perspectives. So we're going to talk about it from, how do you build a brand, how do you leverage a brand, and then how do you protect your brand, and then of course the last part that you just talked about, which is going from local to global. And I like that. How do you go from local to global? So we'll talk about those things tonight, in each of those, and from each of those perspectives, and then talk about the steps that a person can, or I should say, how our audience, what steps they can put in place, like right now, in order to be able to, go from where they are, whatever position they may be in as far as their business, whether they are an aspiring, entrepreneur, speaker, author, how they can build that brand. Then how can they leverage the brand, no matter where they are? If they're already, at a certain level, how can they take it to that next level? From they might be local, but they want to go national. And then if they're national, they might want to start to think about going global, like you have.
Right.
So we'll talk about those four levels tonight, and I think that'll be it, because I think you and I, because when I was blessed to be and honored to be on your show, we talked a little bit about entrepreneurship and business. But I also and I want to thank you for that. But I also want to, we have a kind of a same kind of vision in the way that we think and what we're trying to do with business, and giving people information, knowledge, and resources that they can use right away in order to be able to take their brand to that next level, whatever that next level
Right.
is. So, that's what honestly, that's what the Speakers Lounge is all about. It's about giving knowledge, information, resources, because I say this, my mission this year is to make people better by the end of 2018 than they were at the beginning of 2018. And doing things like this gives people the opportunity in order to be able to do that, to put in, to be able to use these skills and be able to take notes and have the knowledge that they need and tools. Once we give it to you, it's up to you what you do with it. So,
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about, let's begin by talking a little bit about how you build your brand, and what are the 3 steps that somebody can do in order to be able to build a brand. They come to you and say, I have this idea of a business or a brand, and I'm not sure how to begin to be able to build it. How do I, what are those 3 to 5 steps that I need to kind of incorporate in order to be able to do that?
Well, a couple of things that
Mm-hmm.
You have to consider, and I always tell people, when you think about a brand, you have to think about a person. You have to think
Mm-hmm.
about an identity. So the question is, how do you want to be described,
Wow.
right? And that
Mm-hmm.
is defined by your mission, your vision, and all of that. And so you start with, what is my mission and vision? Step 1. Step 2 is, what need do I serve in the marketplace?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Step 3
Absolutely.
is taking that information and saying, well, then what do I represent? So I'll utilize myself as an example.
Mm-hmm.
When I learned what I'm sharing now, guys, is not something I made up. I was just like everybody else who says, well, who am I? I would invite anybody, Leroy, to Google the number of people that become lawyers every year.
Really? Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you multiply that by the now 16 years that I've been practicing, and you look at the number of people that have become lawyers since I've become a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I invite people to do that because I really want you to understand, a lot of people are speakers and authors, and they're like, oh, it's a lot of people. It's far more lawyers than that. So I want to create that visual just to say, when I was going through it, one of the things that was so daunting for me, I remember clearly, I was in law school, I was talking to a mentor, and I was like, do I really need to spend all the money and do this? Because you know how many people, are being lawyers, I'm like, this is a lot of money. Long story short, what he helped me to understand is, there are a lot of lawyers, but guess what? There's only one you. And you have to decide, what is it that as a lawyer you want to be known for? What is it that you can bring to the marketplace that is not there? And the way that you bring it to the marketplace. Now, that was in law school. I didn't really understand that until about 5 years ago.
Okay.
When I started to look at, okay, what can I do differently? Because some of you may or may not know, but the way that lawyers provide services is now starting to change and morph, and you got to be able to go with that. So when I started to look at that, that is when I started to really look at branding, brand protection. What does it mean? Long story short, what I realized is that, okay, I need to understand who I am in the marketplace. I went to a webinar. Some of you may have heard this story before, but I was invited to go to this webinar by Damon John. And one of the things that he said is, people need to understand who you are, and you need to be able to fit that on the back of a business card. I'm like, I'm a lawyer. I like to talk. How am I going to do that? When he was like, we're not talking about a 30-second elevator speech. We're talking about, you need to be able to put who you are in somebody's hand. It took me 3.5 months to go from 4 or 5 paragraphs to this. And in the end, after I got my 2 sentences or whatever, back of the business card, I had to then say, what's my moniker? Which is, what do you want to be known for in the marketplace? Well, it came down to brand protector, because every aspect of our business and what we do at 360 is brand protection. We do tax resolution, right? Nobody wants the IRS taking their house. when we work with you on your brand, it's not just protected, it is
Okay.
positioned to be a legacy generation, a generational wealth building legacy tool, right?
Mm.
Because you want to have something that if you leave today, whoever's in line to get your stuff can pick it up, but they have something that you've worked for. So what we're looking at helping people understand is you got to see what your cause in the earth is. For those of you that believe like me, you know, the word says, I knew you before you were formed. That means you were sitting here for a purpose, and it ain't to be nothing but great. And I tell people that it's about being great in this world while you're here. And you hear a lot
Absolutely.
of people say this, and so I'm going to adopt it. I've adopted it for myself. I remember I heard Miles Monroe, and I'm going to get off this, but I remember I heard Miles Monroe say something to the effect of, he was talking about how the richest place in the earth is a cemetery because there's
Is the
so many dead.
graveyard. Yep.
Right. And one of the things that he said was, and it helped me understand, when I die, I want to die empty. I want to pour out all I got while I'm here, because once you unleash it, it's here. It's available for everybody. And so for us, when we sit down and we say, who are you? You got to be able to really answer that question if your real goal is to go from local to global. I have some people, Leroy, who say, well, you know, I don't want to do all that. Like, look, I just want to sell some clothes. I just want to, you know, sell some body wash.
Yeah.
But you know what? But that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It really is okay.
Right.
And then what
Right.
we'll do is we will help you at the level of where you are. We will assist you and service you at the level of where you are. But understand, when you come to me and say, I want to go from local to global, because what people think is, I had to explain this to somebody. Global and international is two different things. I've had people do consultations about going global, and they're like, well, I'm already international. But okay, but you're not global. I was international too until I went global. Until I started to understand that international is just, if I go to Jamaica and I do a presentation, I'm an international speaker. I can put that there. But if I've not gone anywhere else, I've not been around the globe.
Right.
So the thing is, where do you want your brand? How do you see your brand? Right? And what we do, we help you start from where you are and help you to see what is it that you're really trying to do. And we help you create a plan to get there.
Absolutely. And now talk a little bit about that, how important it is to have a plan from where, you know, from seeing where you are to where you want to go. And because a lot of people fail to plan, you know, and people don't really think, oh, they kind of want to, you know, they kind of think that they can wing it and kind of just go with it and everything, like, especially when it comes to entrepreneurs. And I think that's one of the reasons why entrepreneurs aren't as successful in the beginning, in those first 5 years, because they don't sit down and plan like you just talked about. Think about their mission. Think about who it is that they are as individuals first. Then they talk about the business, because to me, your business and your brand is nothing more than a reflection of you, because when people see you, they see your brand. And that's how I think people take to it. They don't buy your. I've been taught this, that people don't buy your business. They buy you. They don't buy your products and services. They buy you, because if I'm familiar with you, if I know who you are as a person, if I know who you are, and kind of as a business, you know, if I know what you're known for as a business, then I'm more likely to do business with you or to buy your product and services, because I feel more comfortable with you. You know, do you think that that's a accurate assessment of folks?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a foregoing thought in the marketplace, the know, like, and trust factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that are in the speakers world or in the coaching world, you've been taught that for a while. The know, like, and trust factor. Do I know you? Do I like you? And have we had an opportunity to build trust, right? Do I trust that you are the right professional for me to work with? And it's essentially the same thing when you are looking at what's the plan, right? You got to establish, how the heck are people going to get to know me?
Right.
But even before that, you have to figure out, you have to know who your ideal client is, because you have to know what they like and what they trust, right? But you have to first know who you are. Okay.
Right.
So you have to know your ideal client. You have to ask yourself and figure out, how is my ideal client? How am I going to get to them? And how are they going to get to know me? Right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to already figure out their likes and dislikes so that you can make sure that you're giving them the things that they like, so that they can then like you. And then you must have credibility. Right. And the way you should have built credibility before you even got started. Those are some steps that you need to take. Credibility is very important. So then once you have credibility that they can independently verify,
Mm-hmm.
very important. They must be able to independently verify your credibility. Now they trust you. And it probably seems very simple when I say it, but a lot of people don't understand that it's a process with that. Know, like, and trust.
Right.
And that's exactly what
Absolutely.
you have to do.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's a part of the relationship building that I think people don't take time to kind of really, let's say, master and understand, and building those relationships, and building the relationships, building partnerships, because those are the things that I've learned of a way that you grow your brand, because those relationships become a way of expanding your reach and who you are. I can't tell you, just in this last year or two, the relationships that I've built have expanded my business so much, because it put me into realms that I wouldn't ordinarily be in had I not had the relationships, had I not had the relationships that I built with these folks. And also, like you just talked about, the credibility that I had with them, and even the credibility that they had with me, because that's got to go both ways. They have to have credibility, and you have to have credibility as well. Because that's how you gain a reputation. And that's what a brand is. A brand is your reputation, and what people think and say about you when you're not around. And it's become, just like you, in the last year or two, it's become so much where I'm so focused on that now. It's like I gotta protect my name. I gotta put
Right.
my loyalty and my word, because that's what people want to get known for. What you'll get known for. And one of the things that I'll add to what you just talked about, as far as your having the vision, the mission of who you are, and understanding who you are, and building your brand, and the planning process. People gotta understand that there's a process to everything. Everything is a process. Your brand is not going to be built overnight. It's not going to be built overnight. There's not one Fortune 500 company that did not start off as a small business. If there is one, somebody please correct me and let me know, because every single one of them, from Amazon all the way down to the other Fortune 500 companies, started off as a small business. And the way that they built their brand, that they built their business, was by doing exactly what Miss LeTonya just talked about. They had a mission. They had a plan, and then they earned their credibility in their particular industry that they were in. So y'all
But
get that.
and let me interject one thing.
No,
And
go ahead.
most importantly, what all of those brands did, they
Mm-hmm.
identified a needs gap in the
Uh-huh.
marketplace. Right?
Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
identified a needs gap in the marketplace, and they went in and they were consistent.
Mm-hmm.
They were consistent. One of the things that you mentioned about connecting with networking and things like that, I want everybody
Mm-hmm.
to understand. Stop trying to attach to people just because you feel like they're gonna help you come up.
Say that again.
Stop trying to attach to people just because you feel like they're gonna help you come up. And I say that, guys, because everybody has their own mission. I'm not saying don't collaborate. Anybody
Mm-hmm.
that follows me know I got a lot of collaborative partners, right? But understand that collaboration is not a dinner party, it's a potluck. Okay?
Mm.
Everybody bring a dish so we all can eat. It's not somebody setting it out for you to now come and enjoy and exploit and move on. You have to, if you're going to collaborate, you must ask yourself, what am I taking to the potluck? Meaning, what am I taking to the table? What do I have of value to offer? You must always have something of value to offer the people that you're looking to collaborate with.
Absolutely, and that is so vital. And I learned that years ago when I was working for an attorney. He actually did mergers and acquisitions, and one of the things that he taught me, because this was when I told him about my aspirations of becoming an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, and one of the very things that he told me, he said one of the key points is you always make sure that not only you bring something to the table, but the person that you're collaborating with brings something to the table too. He said, because you want to make sure that person comes with the attitude of having something to be able to lose, because if they feel like they don't have anything that they have to lose in that relationship, they're just going to go and do and be and whatever, and not really care about it. I said the more that they have to really kind of hone in on, or that they feel like they have to lose, then the more that they're going to be in tune with it, they're going to be in focus with it. And we all have to have that mindset when you go into collaboration. I should be bringing something to the table. I should be thinking in the aspect of win-win. What is it that they can win by being in a relationship with me? What is it that I can win from being in a relationship with them? And that way we both, I say, when you come to the table, like you just talk about, you come to the table, we all eat. We all eating, we all healthy, we all eating something good. So it makes it really it makes it really beneficial for you. So you really have to take the time to work on those collaborations that you have, because and make sure that that it's a right fit. If their mission, their vision isn't in the same realm as yours, and they aren't heading in the same direction as you are, then you might want to do a serious assessment of who of the collaboration, because you really want to do that. You want to make sure that that it is a good fit. Because I know you have some stories to tell you, because I got some too that you just like, nah, this ain't working. This
Oh
is
yeah,
not good.
absolutely. And you have to be comfortable enough saying that this
Exactly.
isn't working. We have to shift and make some adjustments, because it's business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's all love, but it's also survival. And
Exactly.
and that's just how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the beginning. So those are the first three things that you all can that you want to start on, and I'll repeat those really quickly. You want to have your mission and vision. You want to have a plan. Know who you are is what we say in your mission and vision. You have to know who you are. You want to have your plan, and then you want to establish your credibility in your particular industry, and in the relationships that you use in order to be able to build your brand. So those are three steps that you can use in being able to build your brand, from no matter what stage that you're in. Those three things should always be, you can use those three things. So that's a vision, that's a plan, and that's credibility. Those things are vital. So next thing is about leveraging. And leveraging your brand in the particular in your industry. You want to talk a little bit about that, and three things that we can do in order to be able to kind of leverage our brand out there in the industry.
Absolutely. First of all, again, what value are you? Well, first of all, what need are you addressing? You can't leverage anything
Mm.
without understanding the need that you're fulfilling,
Mhm.
right? We talk about pain points. Everybody, that's the buzzword, right? Pain points, pain points. Find a pain point, find a pain point. This is what I tell people. It's not just pain points, it's pleasure points. I was talking to
Mm.
some business students, and I said, I know they're teaching y'all about supply and demand. People don't buy based on supply and demand. They don't
Mm.
make buying decisions based on that. They make buying decisions based on pain points and pleasure points, right? What
Mhm.
is it that I can do that's going to alleviate the pain that I'm feeling?
Mm.
What
Come
is
on
it
now.
that's going to enhance the pleasure I feel?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
That's why people make buying decisions. And I had someone challenge me on that, and this is the example that I gave them. I
Okay.
said, if you get on social media, someone's always talking about how somebody is, buying, I'll just use like, I don't know, hair weave versus paying their bills, or this person is buying alcohol versus taking care of their kids. Pain and pleasure point. You feel what I'm saying? Because what
Absolutely.
I'm saying is people make value-based decisions off pain points and pleasure points. Not supply and demand. Demand comes after the pleasure point or the pain point. That's why you have to meet people at their point of pain or pleasure, and you have to show up as the solution.
Absolutely. And that's what I say. And I put it that way because I always talk about in terms of every business is in business to be the answer to somebody's problem. Every business was created because of like you just talked about, a need. And when you come from the perspective of what answer or whose answer am I, the problem, whose answer am I, then you can understand who your target market is, who it is that you need to go after, like you talked about before a little earlier. Because if I know that I'm the answer for someone, then it becomes a thing where, like you said, I know if somebody has the problem of this, and this, I know that I have the answer to this, and this. It becomes a thing where they'll see the value in and the pleasure, if it's the pleasure in what it is that I have to offer to them. So it's important that people understand about being the answer to someone's problem. And when you come from that perspective, and that's a quick way to be able to, you can tell in 30 seconds whether or not that person is your target market, because the only question that you got to ask yourself is, am I the answer to this person's problem? When they describe it. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, absolutely. Because see, here's the other thing too. So moving to the next step in terms of leveraging, how do you leverage? Once you do all that, then how do you leverage that? Just like Leroy, just like you just said, is this person my ideal client? You got to do the research up front. Don't be anywhere talking about your business if you don't already know this is your ideal client pool. Don't even go.
Absolutely. Don't waste your time. Right. Absolutely.
So, or unless you're gonna go for practice. When you first start doing this, go for practice and sharpen your skills. But understand that that's what you're doing. So I say that to say you cannot leverage anything if you ain't in the right place.
Absolutely. Ooh, I like that. You cannot leverage anything if you're not in the right place.
You can't leverage anything if you're not in the right place. That's not just in front of your ideal client. That's the right network. That's having the right resources. That's understanding who you are, what you have to offer. Because when you walk in the room, you're a walking resource, right? People that are contacting you, they are contacting you because they perceive that you have what they need.
Exactly.
In terms of what do, that's why you got to know up front. Because once you know up front, you don't have to really leverage. Now it's just a matter of closing the deal.
Right. Absolutely.
And you cannot be afraid to go into networks, even if you got to pay to get in. So that's what people don't get. Everybody want to say, well, I just want to go do this, or I'm just going to get in a Facebook group, or I'm just going to do this, or I'm just going to do that. There's nobody online that's for free bringing you into the fold and helping you come up. It just doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just doesn't.
Right. And you have to be willing to invest, and you can't look at it as, I got to pay. You have to look at it as investing in your business. And if you're doing it the way that you're supposed to, with you being an attorney, hey, there's certain aspects to it that I should be able to, I can write off when I'm going to the events that I have to go and I have to pay. It's a write-off for you because it is a business expense. You're using it in order to be able to, for business purposes. It's not like you're going just to be going. You're going for a specific person. So understand that the money that you're investing into your business, or I say investing in your brand, it's a way of investing. So you should not mind, and you should be budgeting for certain things. And I tell my clients when it comes to going to that you have an events calendar. You should have two types of events calendar. You should have a calendar yourself that you're doing, where you're doing things with yourself that you're doing. But then you also have an events calendar, things that you put on your calendar specifically to go to, so that you can leverage your brand, so that you can get your name out there, because you can have the greatest thing since sliced bread, but if nobody knows who you are and doesn't know what you do, it does you no good. So you do have to
Absolutely.
be able, you have to have the expectation of being able to spend some money. You're gonna have to spend some money in order
Oh
to be
yeah.
able to get out there.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I remember I was talking to George Fraser, and for those of you
Okay.
that don't know, and most of the people know like who he is, but
Yeah.
he has the number one biggest networking conference
Yep.
and network period, for African American business owners. And
Are
I
you
was
going
speaking.
this year?
No, I'm not going to be able to
Okay.
make it this year.
Okay.
But I was speaking to him, and I
Mm-hmm.
said, "What is it that I need to do?" I kind of went through like some things I'm doing. I'm like, because this was my way up. Again, this is why I'm like, I don't want anybody to have it as hard as I did. But I was talking to him, and he said, "Just be in the room."
Mm.
I was
Be
like,
in the
"Is that
room.
simple?"
Yes.
He was like, "Yeah, be in the room." He said, "Because being in the room gives you access. Then do
Mm-hmm.
what you need to do." This is why the things that you're doing, this interview, I'm sure other interviews that you've done, it
Mm-hmm.
is very vital that you follow these tips and tools that people are learning from your videos, because that gets them prepared for when they get in the room.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
It gets you
Absolutely.
prepared for when you get in the room. And so, again, when we're talking about leveraging, be in the room. If someone knows that they want to go from local to global, they've seen somebody else do it, regardless of what you think about that person. At the end of the day, if you have access to get in the room, it's not about that person. It's about the access that you're getting to people in the global marketplace. I tell people, like, my event, as you know, is coming up. It's called Go Global Now, coming up in October 5th through
Mm-hmm.
7th, Huntsville, right? I've had so many people call and ask about it. The information is goglobalconference.com, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, globalnowconference.com. You can go there. You can see right now who the speakers are. We're adding people, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing that I've had to tell everybody. Just be in the room.
Absolutely.
Everything that you're going to learn that day, if you implement it, you will be on track to go from local to global. That's what the whole event is about at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Because I realize some people, they don't want to go through a 6-month, 9-month, 1-year program. For
Mm-hmm.
those of you
Mm-hmm.
that don't know, it took me from the time that I said I want to take the brand protection message from local to global. It took 2 years.
Mm.
Took 2 years,
Mm.
from 2016 to 2018, and it did not happen until April of 2018. I was already an international speaker. I had been in the Caribbean working with
Mm-hmm.
people, working with women in business in the St. Lucia area. I had already been to Puerto Rico several times, which isn't considered international, but it is, right?
Right.
As we know.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I had already done that. So, but for me, it was about taking my brand protection message to the global marketplace. And
Mm-hmm.
so my first stop was Europe.
Uh-huh. I was going
It
to
took
have
me
you talk
two,
about that too, because I know you just did
yes,
that.
it took me 2 years to establish a working blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
I spent money. I wasted time. Well, let me back up. Well, no, I spent money. I wasted time. I invested money because I eventually got my payoff. But
Uh-huh.
but what was more importantly is that I connected with people in circles that could help me get where I needed to go. Not in a usury type of way, but I
Right.
understand this person has the expertise that I need.
Right.
So I'm going to take advantage of that expertise. Leroy, they helped me fine tune my message, help
Mm-hmm.
me understand how to leverage what I call my moniker, all of
Mm-hmm.
those things. So now we are, as a group, positioned to say, we're going to do this for everybody else, because it was a pain. We lost collectively. I know that we wasted over $50,000 collectively.
Wow.
Trying to go,
Wow.
all of us individually, trying to go from local to global, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've all connected and come together, my team is, we got Trinidad, Ghana, the EU, we got London, of course, you know, America, we got Nigeria. Like, this is not just LeTonya Moore in Huntsville, Alabama.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
This is a global network that we're saying, we're opening the door saying, if you're ready, come in, but you got to be ready.
Yeah.
We don't need people that's just coming trying to figure out what's going on. You can see that on social media or somewhere else. But when you're ready, we want you to see, is this for me? Am I really ready? And if you're not, that's fine. But if you are, we taking you with us.
Wow.
Because people see, I don't hide it. You know, Leroy, we're in the same group. I don't hide to do it. I put stuff out there. Hey, listen, if you want to do it, this is what it is. You just got to be in the right place.
Absolutely.
Join the 360 brand protection group. They'll find out about all types of stuff. Every time something comes out, I put it out.
Exactly.
And it's up to people to take advantage of the opportunities.
Absolutely, absolutely, and folks have got to understand that you know that the opportunities in this year of 2018, in this 21st century, opportunities are there, and it's a matter of you being prepared. Like you said, and I give success the definition of this. Success is preparation when preparation meets opportunity. Is success. Are you prepared for the opportunity that's going to come to you? And that's how you gain success. Being prepared. Prepare yourself. If you're not on a particular level, and it's about being real with yourself, understanding, okay, what do I need? If I'm not where I need to be, how do I get to where I need to be so that I can be ready when when the next opportunity, or get ready to step into that opportunity when it's there. And
you got to fight pride.
Absolutely.
You got to fight pride.
Yep.
Because you got to first acknowledge that you need help and ask for that help.
Right.
Let me just very quickly.
Oh no, good.
And some people have heard this story, but for those of you that have not, I think it has value in this. When I lost the biz, I tell the story about how, I jumped out there and I wasn't prepared. I thought I was, whatever. I ended up losing roughly $75,000, right? To some people, that may not be a lot. To some people, like me, it's a whole lot of money. Right?
Me too.
It is. To lose in a very short period of time, because I could not recover from that.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. I wasn't in a position to go and say, hey, banker, I need 75, I need you to make up this 75, right? I need a $75,000 line of credit. I wasn't positioned to do that.
Okay.
So of course, what did that mean? That mean what do they call it? Rock bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I tell people that, because I was able to go from literally less than zero, right, to a place of being in the black, because the one thing that I realized that I had was something of value that lots of people needed, that I was able to leverage, not barter,
mm-hmm.
but leverage to
mm-hmm.
get back in the black. I also realized, okay, I didn't have these things in place, because guess what? If I had a banker, I may not have been able to get 75, but I tell you what, I would have had access to capital to the point where it wouldn't have been rock bottom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
These are all things that people don't take into account, because they see your results, right? And they say, I want that result. But they don't want to go through what it takes to get to that result.
Exactly.
If you follow the plan with people that you coach, if they just follow and implement your plan, they're going to get to exactly where you tell them that they're going to get to. And people don't understand that.
Yeah, and I think in this day and time, I think a lot of folks have a microwave, I call a microwave mentality, where they think that everything is going to happen very quickly. And I try to explain to folks that growing a business, if it's one thing that I've learned, and I have so much more respect for Fortune 500 companies now than I did versus when I was, when yeah, when I was working in corporate America, working in companies, was the amount of time that it does take to build a business and to build a brand. It's a process, and it doesn't just happen. It's strategy. It's having a particular plan in place and sticking with it. Yeah, you're gonna make little tweaks and changes along the way because you're gonna learn about what works and what doesn't work, but understanding that it is a process to it. It's a process
Right.
to it, and if you keep working the process, then eventually, like you said, it gets you to where you want to be. But you've got to stick with it. You've got to be consistent at it. That's the thing.
Right.
If you're consistent at it, then you will eventually get the results that you want and that you need to get, that success that you'll get. And I love that you. I just gotta tell you, I love the fact that what you said about Dr. Frazier telling you be in the room,
Yeah.
because I lied to you, not last year and this year. This year I tell I tell my clients, and I tell just people, even when whatever event that I go to, I always use the hashtag be in the room, because if you're not in the room, people won't know who you are. And people can't know who you are. Like I said before, you can have the greatest product, greatest service that there is, but if you're not in the room and you're not talking to people to make them aware of who you are and the value that you have, like you just talked about, having that value, creating that value, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter what you do, because it does you no good. So you've got to put yourself in the position to grow your brand, to leverage your brand. And the way that you do that is by being in the room, being around those individuals who you are the answer for.
Yeah.
And that's the key to it.
Absolutely. But when you're
Yeah.
talking about going from local to global, because I think the next element was how do you take it to the next level?
Hmm.
So when
Hmm.
you're talking about going from local to global, and like we said, there are multiple steps: local, regional, national, international, global. Okay,
Hmm.
so though that's the process, right?
Right.
Now, for
Right.
some people, local to global really comes down to the type of business entity that you are. So I'll just again just use myself as an example. Being a lawyer is also very limited because
Hmm.
you're only licensed in so many states. There are
Right.
other things that you can do, like for example, my tax resolution. I can do that for anybody anywhere, right?
Okay.
So
Hmm.
anything
Hmm.
that's federally regulated and governed by federal regulation, I can do that anywhere.
Okay.
Um, but as a consultant, I could service anybody anywhere, right? And
Hmm.
I advise
Hmm.
them to have local counsel, and we teach them how to get that team together, so on and so forth.
Right.
I won't go into that today. But basically, what I had to do when I said, okay, I've done some things now. I want to take this brand global because I'm getting more information and access from and questions from international clients.
Hmm.
What I had to realize is what's the next step,
Uh-huh.
right? Like, okay, I've done this so global. What does that mean? See,
Hmm.
sometimes you got to go talk to somebody that know.
Hmm.
Everything
Hmm.
isn't on the internet, and if you don't
Right.
know a starting point, you don't even know what to look for,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
Because
Right.
everything that you're going to find out is, and I'm saying this because this is what I went through. I had
Hmm.
no idea like where to start, like what to look for, like who is this, which is why, like I said, we all ended up losing a whole lot of money because we didn't know, right? But this is why I always tell people connect with someone that you've seen their progression. Now there's proof of concept. For
Right.
anyone that has
Right.
been following me for 2 years or more, for the last, let's say 3 years, whatever,
Hmm.
2-3 years or more, they know I put it out. And I put it out not to boast, but I want people to understand that this really is possible from anybody, from just
Right.
being where you start. I don't care who you are, this is possible, right? And it's possible because you got to be in the room.
Right.
You
Right.
got to connect with the right people, let them show you the way, and then you take those tools, you implement, but you have to be in the room. And a lot of times people like to start at the top. They like to go to these big places and knowing that after the conference, they don't care if they met you there. They're not going to email you back. These people are not going to collaborate and work with you. They're not going to invest in your business. And I'm saying that because you know how many people coming at them. There are already people in those networks. So what you have to do is you have to build yourself up to a certain level, then move to the next level, move to the next level, move to the next level. That's why I can be having a conversation with the George Frazier that's telling me, you got to be in the room, LeTonya. This is what you got to do. Hey, I didn't start there, right? You got to get there, right? And I'm just using myself as an example so that people know that it's possible. I promise you, it's possible. And once you connect with people that are willing to show you, because some people, they're not willing to show you. They'll tell you.
Right. Yeah. You right about that? Right.
They're not going to show you. Now, let me make sure in the showing, of course, there's an investment. We all know that. Leroy, you don't coach clients for free. None of us do. Right? But when you're talking about presenting opportunities, right? When you're saying, hey, like for me, again, you know this because we're in some of the same groups. When somebody says, okay, LeTonya, you got a group, I'll give you 10 slots.
Mm-hmm.
I will put it out there. I got 10 slots. This the deal. Now, if somebody don't take advantage of that, there's nothing I can do. But then don't come to me later on a 15-minute consult talking about you want to go global. Then you had the opportunity to be in the room with the same folks that I would refer you to and introduce you to.
Absolutely.
It makes to me, it's illogical. Let me say this, and this is not just because I'm affiliated with this event.
Mm-hmm.
It is illogical for anyone that is connected in my group, in my network, who wants to go from local to global, who is not going to be at the October conference. It's illogical. It is illogical to do that. You know why? Or not take advantage of some of the opportunities that they find out about in the 360 brand protection group. It's illogical not to do that, because when you are connected with the people because I'm telling you, when you're connected to, let's say you connected to me or some of the other people that are affiliated with it, men and women around the world, that's where you're going to get your price. That's where they're going to say, okay, listen, when you get there, okay, Leroy, I know what you do. So listen, when you get there, I want to directly connect you with such and such. Because they got exactly what you need, because I know where you're trying to go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Leroy got to be in the room.
Absolutely. And people have to understand that. And what I tell my clients is there should be, and I tell at least three major events. I don't, whether they're conferences, conferences or events that you should be going to, that you should be a part of. That means you may have to travel. That means you're going to have to spend that particular money to invest in your business. That's those must be at events, and your event is one of those must be at events. If you're saying that you want to go from local to global, there's no reason why you should not say, hey, this needs to be on my calendar, because I have to be in that room if I'm going to be able to go from, if my assignment this year, and for those that know me and know that I put out there that you should have your 10 assignments for this year of who you are in 2018, one of your 10 assignments, minimum of 10 assignments, should be to go to these particular conferences, these particular events, because it's right in what I'm saying I want to do and what I want to achieve this year. So it is vital that people understand that when in order for you to grow from one stage to the next, you have to understand that there are certain things that you have to do, and there are certain people that you have to meet and invest in, and you can't meet them if you're not in the room and if you're not introduced to them, because you should always have somebody that is where you're trying to get to. because you have that person to be able to bounce, to be able to know, okay, this is what they did. And like you said, you have to find that right person, because not everybody's going to is going
Right.
to give that information. But for those that are receptive to you, those that are willing to pour into you, you should be. I'm sitting at your feet because I want to, and I'm taking
But
notes.
let
And
me
I'm.
let me interject one thing. What you just
Mhm.
said was very vital, and I hope that they're listening. But here's the thing. Yeah, everybody ain't gonna want to pour into you. But guess what? If I know somebody and I tell them, listen, I need you to talk to Leroy. This is
Mhm.
I've edified you like a referral
Yep.
or a recommendation. Anybody
Absolutely.
that knows me off the strength of me, they're gonna do it.
Right. Right.
They're going to have a
Absolutely.
conversation. Now, I can't guarantee that you're going to work with them. I can't
Right.
guarantee that it's going to be a good fit. I can't guarantee that they're going to work with you. But what I can guarantee is a quality conversation,
Right.
quality advice that's going to get you where you're trying to go. That hard introduction where now it's up to you to build a relationship.
Exactly.
So what I'm saying is I can connect you in that instance, right? And that is what I keep trying to get people to understand. You have to connect with people that are willing and able to connect you, even if it's to your next step. Read how Harry and Tubman got the slaves from the South to Canada. It's the same type of process. She took them to this person, that person took them to the next level. Eventually, they made it to freedom, right?
Come on now.
Think about it. And
Absolutely.
It's simplistic, but we don't see it that way. One last thing, and I know you got another part, but one last thing I want people to understand. And let me just say this. It is very difficult for me to have a sympathy for someone with a business who says, I can't afford, I'm just throwing a number out there, $97 to come to a conference. But I see you, and you took your whole family to Disney.
I know where you're going.
Dominican Republic, right? Or you just bought a $500 painting to hang in your house. So again, and I'm sharing that for two reasons. One, don't be that person. Two, as an entrepreneur, you now have to have a crucial conversation with yourself about, are you really an entrepreneur, or is this just a habit? You know, we talked about that, a hobby. Remember in our last interview, you know, we talked about hobbies. We talked about, are you a business? Are you doing legacy? What you trying to do? So I say that to say you must understand that about yourself, because that's a value assessment that you have to do. Again, if you want to be in the room from local to global, you guys can reach out to me, but you can also go to globalnowconference.com. One thing that I'll do for the people that's watching this video, there is a private pre-sale that's going on. Leroy, you may know about this. I think it's already been posted in the 360 brand protection group. If not, it will be. There's a pre-sale for 1 week. These are just for people that are looking to attend the event, not for people that want to be speaker sponsors or vendors or anything like that. But if you go to globalnowconference.com and you click tickets and you put in the promo code pre-sale 2018, there are very, very deep discounted, very, very, and I'm saying deep, like 70% off discounted rates, but it's only for a week. And this is not about sales. This is about, do you want to be in the room?
Come on now. Yep.
I mean, it really is, because see, the conference is going to go on regardless.
Right.
We are doing this because there are people that they cannot afford $8,000. They cannot afford $10,000, which collectively we all kind of charge individually with all of the things that we're doing. Right. So now this is your opportunity to pay a small amount of money, get in the room, and then you can decide from there what you need to invest in, if anything, to take your brand from local to global. But I will tell you that while you're there, what you will get is access. You'll get information. You will get resources that if you need to right now build your own roadmap, you'll be able to do that too. But you got to be in the room.
Absolutely. And before we get into that, I really want you to talk about, because I want people to know about the conference, where they, like, I know you mentioned a little bit about the conference, but the dates, give the dates of the conference, where it's going to be held, and all of that information, so that people can know where they can, where to go, so that they can register, so that they can be in the room at that event.
So the conference is October 5th through 7th. It's the second annual conference. We had one last year where our features were Black CEO. Of course, you guys know they have a national, international, just this thing grew like a fungus.
Yeah,
I
didn't
tell you,
it? Trevor.
but again, roadmaps, right? Roadmaps, people that have gone there. These are the people that are going to be at this conference. The website is globalnowconference.com. That's globalnowconference.com. The event is October 5th through 7th in Huntsville, Alabama. It's going to be, the main event is going to be at the Sheraton Airport. So for those of you that are flying in to Huntsville
Okay.
International Airport, you don't even have to leave,
Just
right?
stay
You don't
right
have to
there.
worry about, how am I going to get from the airport to the hotel or to the event? It's right there. We are going to have, there are some VIP receptions and things like that for, people that decide to go VIP.
Hmm.
There's still going to be opportunities to meet all of the speakers, even our international groups. There are going to be opportunities to network. For those of you that decide to go the speaker sponsor route, there are going to be opportunities for you to sell your products and services and also get stage time. And depending on which speaker sponsorship level you get, you may have all access even to the masterminds. We're going to have a mastermind lunch and we're going to have a mastermind dinner during that time. Those are separate unless you take advantage of the VIP options. Those are separate opportunities. But again, we still are going to have we're going to have a meet and greet. So we have slots available for Friday, October 5th. The main event is also in slots available for Saturday, October 6th. October 7th is going to be a really cool, like, going away, rah, 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 I like to call it, for the people that are still around during that time, that Sunday.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So that's a whole weekend of nothing but knowledge, information, and resources for individuals. So it, like LeTonya said, if you looking to take your business, whether it's a speaker business, whether it's entrepreneur, just any kind of business that you have, even authors or entrepreneurs, taking your business to that next level, from going from local, whether it's local to national, from national to global, or even from national to international, from international to global, no matter what level that you see yourself on, this is one of those events that will assist you in order to be able to get there and know where you are and know how to get to that next level. So you want to be in Huntsville, Alabama in October, that whole weekend from the 5th to the 7th, right? From October
Yes.
5th to the 7th, going in and being there and being a part of being in the room, because the resources are going to be there. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to be there. So that's awesome. So let's talk, this last section. We'll just talk about it, which is kind of exactly part of what you do, which is how do you protect your brand and the importance of protecting your brand.
Uh, it's very interesting. So I'll start with the importance of protecting
Okay.
your brand. If we can, because it's very crucial that you guys understand that now, with it being a global marketplace, anybody has access because we put everything out digitally. And
Mm,
so it's even more critical that you have systems in place to protect your brand, so that if someone decides that they want to steal your idea, you now have standing to bring a legal claim.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
A lot of people talk about, well, let me say this. So you have your copyrights, you have your
mm-hmm,
trademarks, you have your patents. Without getting too technical,
mm-hmm.
copyrights protects things like creative works.
Right, right.
Trademarks protects things like symbols, right?
Mm-hmm,
Visuals.
mm-hmm,
Patents protect inventions,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
For those of you that are not in the 360 brand protection group, you need to really join that group, because there is a great
Absolutely.
video right, that gives you detailed information about all three of those. So you know exactly what each thing does. So in terms of intellectual property, those are going to be your three areas. There's a fourth one, but we won't really get into that. But these are your three main areas that protect your brand in terms of just on the business side, right? The other elements are having the proper contracts in place, right? Understanding that you need the proper legal structure, right?
Right.
The other thing, the next phase is thinking about your overall legacy. So there are some estate planning and some family law things that you need to have in place. Again, we look at this from a 365-degree angle, which means we look at the individual business owner as well as the business itself. So there are some critical contracts that you need to have in place. Okay. One is for those of you that are pitching your business, or you're looking at reaching out to collaborators and things like that, you need to have a non-disclosure agreement, right? Don't always trust online contracts, because a lot of times, you know, I say that all the time because I get clients that went through some of these online places and they ended up getting messed up because it didn't cover a certain situation, because it does not apply to your specific situation. Because you are the one that's got to put the information in there. So there's certain things that you don't know.
Right.
So that's the first thing. You need to make sure that you have a non-disclosure agreement. For those of you that are working with collaborators, you need to have a non-compete agreement in place. And you need to understand what makes it legal and illegal. Because you can have an illegal non-compete clause, right? Or non-compete agreement. So you need to have those things in place. Just an example of one that's illegal. If Leroy and we're in different states, right? But if we decide to collaborate on a national project, right? I cannot tell him that he cannot do any, let's say it's a speakers conference. I can't tell Leroy that he cannot host a speakers conference in the United States. It's unconscionable, right? It's not going to hold up. What I can do, I can tell Leroy that he ain't going to do the Global Now conference. Connected with it, right? But again, I give you that example because the online versions are not going to tell you that. The online versions are just going to have you going down and you just going to do it, and then you're not going to know. So those are the two that I think you really need to, you know, for purposes of what we're talking about now, really have those things in place. Those of you that do coaching, you need to have a liability waiver. You know why? Because somebody just may be mentally ill. Right? So you need to have, I mean, see, people don't think about this. You need to have some things in place. Somebody may have a mental disease or defect, and if you are not a properly trained therapist, you are not going to know this. So you need to make sure, if it's not in your coaching agreement, you need a liability waiver. If you don't know, listen, anything that I talk about, if you guys need assistance, reach out to me at LeTonyaMoore.com. And I know that Leroy will be putting some of this in the description.
Absolutely. You know, I will. Absolutely.
Yeah, you can reach out to me at LeTonyaMoore.com. But those are, I'm trying to think of all the pitfalls. So make sure that you have a liability waiver, right? Make sure that you have all of those things in place. If you are a coach and you don't have a coaching agreement, you need to get one. Don't just coach people because you got an email in place, right? All of that. The other contract that you need to have in place, if people are paying you monthly, you need to have an installment agreement and a credit card authorization to charge their card every month. Or every week, whatever it is that you guys have agreed to. You need to have those things in place.
Yeah, especially that credit card authorization is crucial, because anybody can turn around and say, I didn't authorize somebody, you know, for you to be able to do that. So I have two scenarios I want to throw at you that have to deal with brands. And I don't know if you're familiar with either one of them. The first one is, and I don't know if you heard about this, but Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill evidently trademarked the name New Edition. So now that Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill aren't going on tour with the rest of the guys, they can't legally use the name New Edition, because you still got Ronnie, you still had Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike that are going on tour. And I heard them talking about this. They can't use the name New Edition because Ralph Tresvant and Johnny Gill have trademarked the name, whereas the other guys in the group don't have it or didn't do. I don't know how that would work, where you could have a certain person in a group that could trademark something and then the others wouldn't be able to use it. Is that I mean, I guess it is something that they can do because they've done it. But would you be familiar with how something like that and protecting yourself with something like that works?
Yeah, what happened? They started operating as New Edition, and nobody trademarked it. And Ralph and Johnny got smart because there was a rift. See, stuff like this comes up when people start having problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they say, well, shoot, then okay, they don't want to do this. We're going to trademark the name. They can go and do whatever they want to do, but they ain't going to do it under New Edition. So
like you just talked about, right?
They trademark the name, because here's the thing, and the other guys really can't say, well, we're entitled to it, because guess what? Nobody trademarked the name. The New Edition has been out 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And that's kind of crazy that they wouldn't have trademarked it. That it wouldn't be trademarked, that they wouldn't have trademarked it from, I guess at a certain point that they would have, even when they were going through all the stuff when Bobby left the group and everything like that, it should have, I would have thought it would have clicked then. Hey, maybe we ought to do something with, click with the name or trademark the name, protect the brand, because New Edition is a brand. You know what I mean?
Right. But again, you're talking 30 years ago when people were a little willy-nilly about things. And the other thing, too, that you got to understand about trademark, if there's nothing in the marketplace to show that somebody intended to claim ownership. Mm-hmm. See, part of the struggle with their situation is because both sides, well, let me back up. Ralph and you said Johnny, right?
Johnny. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They were members of the group. See, that's right. A little bit different if I tried to trademark New Edition.
Right.
Right? The same thing, I don't know if you know this, but the same thing happened with the group Climax.
No, okay.
One of the ladies in the group Climax, this was years ago, one of the ladies in the group Climax trademarked the name because she wanted to continue to tour. They didn't want to do it, so she trademarked the name, got her another group, and kept going. That's why you see people like the Temptations.
That's what I was going to say, like Temptation, Commodores, they've done it too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But think about it. People still doing music under their name, and they're still doing their music.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Somebody owns that brand.
Right.
But what you exemplify is why it's important to pay that money for the trademark up front, or at least at a minimum to put the marketplace on notice of your intent to claim ownership.
Right, exactly. And the second one is, I don't know if you ever saw the movie. It's called The Founder, and it's a movie with Michael Keaton. And if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. But it's the story of McDonald's and how McDonald's started, and how the guy that's known for having McDonald's, he wasn't the original owners. It was the two brothers that started it, but he finagled it some kind of way, and took and owned the name McDonald's. And it had gotten to the point, once he did what he did, they could not even keep the name on the original restaurant, McDonald's restaurant that they had. They had to take that down because he had bought it. And this is what we're talking about as far as the importance of branding and protecting your brand, how important it is to protect your brand. And I just, you got to watch that movie. If you get a chance, LeTonya, watch that movie, and it's exactly what you just talked about, the importance of whether it's copyrights, trademarks, and what'd you say, copyrights, trademarking, and patents. Those, those three aspects of whatever your business or brand falls under, the importance of making sure that you do protect it, because people can steal it from you. People can take your idea. can take your
I
idea
feel like
from you.
that the people whose kid came in, but go ahead.
But they, but this movie, The Founder, it really honed in when I watched it. I was like, wow. I'm like, and it was just, it's the story of they really, they didn't want to go, they didn't want a franchise, is what it turned out to be, because they had had a couple of bad deals that they had done before. So when the guy, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head,
Ray Koch.
yeah, when he approached them about the concept and taking it, taking that franchising it and taking it national, they were like, no, we're not ready for that. We don't want to do that. And he worked that thing. You got to work it. I mean, because you probably know the logistical part of it, as to what he did in order to be able to, because it was some kind of way that he got the name from them without them even knowing, or not even not knowing, but he structured it in such a way, and he screwed them royally on with their name and everything like that, all because they were afraid to go national with their
Right.
particular brand.
And that happens oftentimes. There are a couple of other ones that you may want to check out. I don't know if you've heard of Burt's Bees. The Burt's Bees brand is like lip balm and lotions and all of that. But it's made for, it's hypoallergenic. And this guy, Bert, used to make this stuff from bees because he was also a beekeeper.
Okay.
Long story short, there was a woman came in, said, oh, I can help you get them into stores. Same slick thing, what you're talking about. I can help you expand. I can help you do this. When she trademarked everything, copywritten everything, it was in the name of the company, which she owned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because she established a company that she owned, even though it was this guy's concept, and the company wasn't a concept, but the product was.
The product.
He turned over the recipes and things like that, and she obtained legal ownership, and then she didn't need him anymore because now she had manufacturers, she had all this. So anyway, you're right, that happens. It's the exact same scenario. One thing that I think that is very crucial is, have you heard about the one that happened with Blue Ivy? Jay-Z and Beyonce tried to trademark Blue Ivy's name.
Really? Okay.
And they couldn't. Now, if you go to the trademark database, you may not be able to find a Blue Ivy trademark.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The reason that they could not trademark the name is what happened when they tried to trademark the name. There was a company that was already operating under the name Blue Ivy.
Blue Ivy. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they sued, trying to get this company not to use that name, even though they didn't own a trademark or something like that. They got denied the trademark because of this company, but they came back and appealed because they said, well, they don't have a proper trademark, so we want to trademark it. But what they had done, they had shown an intent to assert ownership. What do I mean when I say that? When you see something and it has a little TM behind it, that is a non-registered trademark.
Really? Okay. Okay.
People don't know this. When you see something with a little R in a circle,
right,
that is a registered trademark.
Trademark, right? Okay. 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 So that's the difference in it. Okay.
Trademark. The TM is an unregistered trademark.
Got you.
And the reason why is that important? That's important because you're putting people on notice of your intent to assert ownership over this name, this phrase, or whatever in the marketplace. So if somebody goes now and tries to get that trademark, they're gonna find you and they're gonna say, yeah, somebody already doing that, so you're not gonna be able to trademark it.
Right.
Now there are names that are very similar, and there's a lot into trademarks, which is why again I encourage you guys to join the group so you can watch the video, because you can have the same registered trademarks. The names can be identical, but the industries are different. Right.
Same thing with the copyrights, right?
Yeah. So those are the things that you want to know about. But again, like you said, it's very important to protect your brand. And the first step on the business side is dealing with those contracts, the intellectual property options, and things like that we talked about, and then moving back into the personal matters. making sure that those things and you have those systems in place for your business.
Absolutely. This has been just phenomenal. I can sit and talk with you all night, but let's do this. Let's give everybody your contact information, all of your social media, especially the 360 Protection brand, because I really want people to understand that they need to be a part of that group, and the great information and great knowledge and resources that you provide in that group for those of us that are a part of that group, where they can connect with you in order to be able to utilize your product and your services. So, because I want people to be able to do that. And then, of course, we want to go back over the conference that's coming up in October, too. So, to let folks know about that, okay?
Awesome. All of my social media handles is my name, LeTonya Moore. Our Facebook group is 360 Degree Brand Protection. That's 360 Degree Brand Protection. You can also reach me at my website, www.letonyamoore.com.
Absolutely. And mention the conference one more time for me.
The conference is the Go Global conference. It's at globalnowconference.com. That's globalnowconference.com. For those of you that watch this video for up until Tuesday, the 12th, we have a pre-sale, very, very dirt cheap. But when you go to globalnowconference.com, you click on tickets and you use the promo code pre-sale 2018, you will see the dirt cheap prices for the conference in October 5th through 7th in Huntsville, Alabama.
So y'all got it. Those are that event, that conference coming up in October. That's one of those must be in the room events that you need to put on there. We in June, so you got a couple of months. Take care of part of it right now. Take care of the registration right now, and then you can budget to be able to get your airline ticket and your hotel, and you ain't even gotta make sure that you book right there book your hotel room right there where the conference is going to be held. That way you won't even have to worry about trying to get from the hotel to where the conference is and everything like that, because like I told y'all, we're on a mission this year to make you better by the end of 2018 than you were at the beginning of 2018. And I guarantee you, I will guarantee you that this conference, being a part of the 360 global movement, will take you from where you are to where you want to be, and make you better by the end of 2018 than you were here at the beginning of 2018, because we're 6 months in. 6 months is already gone, so you got these next 6 months to be able to push and build what it is that you're trying to build for the next 6 months. Do that assessment of the first 6 months. Take a look at the next 6 months of where you want to be, where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do, and make sure that you are in the room at those events that you need to be in the room at, so that you can grow your brand, grow your business, and understand that you have to build your business, you have to leverage your business, but most importantly, you have to protect your business to make sure that you're able to do business and stay in business. Because you don't want to make the mistake that a lot of folks have made in not protecting themselves and wind up losing their business because you didn't think that you had the funds or the capital in order to be able to protect it. That people say, well, I can't afford it. Well, can you afford not to have it? So is the question. So, LeTonya, thank you so much, lady. I appreciate you. I appreciate all that you do. You know it, lady. You know it. And I'm going to see you in October. So,
all right.
Because y'all heard me say it.
His face needs to be in the place. His face needs to be in the place. But thank you so much for your support, and I really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, lady. So you have a good evening, and for those that are tuning in, the replay will be on. If you have any questions for myself or even for LeTonya, if I can say this, we'll be sure to answer those questions for you. But be sure to reach out to her, connect with her. She gave her information, and we'll put that up there as well, so that you can connect with her on an individual basis if you have individual things that you need to talk with her about. And she'll be sure to take care of you. So she's about branding. She's about making sure that you're protected the right way and making sure that you're good. So, LeTonya, have a good evening, and thank you so much. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all know what it is. Be unstoppable. We're on a mission 2018. Let's go.